Hi everybody, MVP here. I hope everybody's well and everybody enjoyed a good trading week in the week that's gone towards the end of July, 29th of July. Sorry I haven't been doing too many videos recently or even posting that much on my Trade to Win site. The usual reasons, which I hope you'll sympathise with. It's work, it's family, it's just about anything and everything. And as some of you are aware, I am trying to develop a relatively simple website just to explain further and start to work with people on what I do here and expand where we go, look into new areas, and just generate a little bit more interest. I would like to say that that is virtually ready to launch, but unfortunately, just hitting a few problems here and there, a lot of teething problems. These things do take time. If any of you have ever tried to launch a project like this, things that seem very simple, just go out there and do it. Just doesn't work that way. I've also got on some of my advanced indicators I was hoping to be working with both privately and sharing with clients. Some issues with programmers, people not delivering what they said they'd do, and even some disappearing with my money. So I'll get that sorted out over time, and that's not your worry, that's my worry. Anyway, enough of all that rubbish. Let's have a look at what happened in the week. We're going to have a look at what happened in the week in terms of actual currency movement, and then we're going to have a quick look at the 80/20 system, the free system that I offer at my Trade to Win thread, and see how that performed in the week. And if you have read the thread already, you'll know that it didn't offer one signal. I'll go through that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. No signal means no trading means no loss. So it's a fairly conservative-based system. That particular indicator, I've got a lot more aggressive versions I use privately, and they did quite well. But anyway, let's go through it one by one. Okay, over here, this is a 500 FX correlator. It's based on a 1 hour, as you can see, and this starts off pretty much at the start of the week, going into the 25th there. 24th would have been the Sunday night. And let's just see winners and losers during the week. I'm just going to drag that across a little bit. And if you can see here, I've also, if you look into my Trade to Win site somewhere, if you type in something like templates and then look for what the search reveals, you will see some templates I've got on the system, and these are the bands here. That I've got, and that gives you an idea of the strength and weakness of particular currencies moving through. So down here, obviously, this would indicate that currencies are fairly weak and bouncing above fair, like oversold lines. And above in this area, there's the little red there. You'll see that, and there is nothing actually at this moment overbought actually, overbought at all. But let's have a look quick through here. Just go through the winners and losers for a second. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to highlight anything because it tends to mess up the templates if I keep highlighting and unhighlighting. All I'm going to do is use this little arrow here, move it around, and we'll talk through the currencies that way if it's all right. So let's start with the winners. Okay, everyone knows it was a tough old week out there. The markets were hammering the US zone, left, right, and centre. They want the answers from US government as to what the hell they're doing about their debt, and that really did affect the markets. And in fact, if you look across here on the left, this is the 1 hour Dow. You can see this was the start of the week, and it's been an appalling week, a really, really appalling week for the markets. And that's not surprising, is it? The one thing that markets feed off is confidence and lack of confidence. They need information. If there is uncertainty in markets, it does raise a lot of issues. And if you're uncertain about something, generally the first thing people will do will bail or start moving out of that and bring their money into safe havens. And this week was certainly a dump on the Dow and other equity markets. And let's see what that caused. In terms of the risers, I'm going to start here with the grey. You see the grey here? This is the jolly old Swissy. It is one of my favourite currencies. I love this to death, and I'm really looking for this to perform well second half of this year. It is my favourite currency to follow. And here's where we can see it had a good start to the week, bounced a bit, and ended up very well over here. And that overall, you can see start to finish, very good week for the Swissy. Not surprising, a lot of uncertainty out there, and that is a safe currency. And if you go out there like I do sometimes out to Switzerland, when you're paying £10 a pint, you know that that's a safe currency. Not good for alcoholics, but certainly good for people that want to leave their money there. Other currencies that did well this week. Here's the can you see here the orange Aussie dollar started off here, bounced through tremendous first 3 or 4 days, a little bit of a wobble, and actually it is coming off now. But overall, it did raise, and it did well for about 4 days of the week. So that was another fairly well performing currency. Here's the yellow yen. It'd be fair to say that the yen had a mixed week. It was fairly flat through the middle of the week. Surprising, as you probably have observed, given the fact that this was falling like a stone and you'd expected yen to go higher. But people weren't that fast. They were probably more interested in things like the Swissy, to be honest. Towards the end, things did pick up, as you can see here, starts to move upwards again off these continued falls on the Dow. So the yen overall had a relatively good week. And they really were about the three currencies. Let's now look at the currencies that didn't do so well. Okay, the euro. There we have. What a saga's going on. The euro actually fared relatively well through most of the week, but it did come off towards the back end of the week. So the euro certainly wasn't a great performance. Can you see here the brown line? Again, apologies for this. That's just the way the nature of the beast. I can't highlight everything. This is the CAD. Now the CAD really had a bad week. It came in around here, and as you can see, ended here. So that's a disaster. It fell through. I think it was one of these things where it was taking flack on all quarters, and it is very, in my opinion, very related to the US dollar's performance. So therefore, being that North American culture, it is linked to what's going on in that area, and it was not a good week for that area. As I've said over here, you've got the Dow falling. That's certainly not really going to help the CAD that much in terms of confidence. The US dollar actually was surprisingly flat. See, it started here and ended here. I think it got out of jail free, personally. It had a terrible back end of the week, as you can see, really coming off. But I think it actually, in all honesty, should have performed poorer than it did. But generally, it was on the back foot, falling most of the week, flat to falling, so not great. What are we left with then? We got the turquoise here. This is the New Zealand dollar. That's had quite a good recent period, actually. But this week, no, fairly flat to falling. A little bit of a push at the end of the day, the end of the week, Friday. Apart from that, not too good. And last but not least, where we've got my favourite, my home currency, the pound. Here it is in red. Here you go. This is where it starts here. This is where it ends here. So it's pretty flattish in terms of a weekly performance. And it was relatively volatile, moved up, moved down. But that's what you're going to get with the GBP. What you see is what you get. That thing is volatile. So whether it doesn't move at all overall from start to finish, you're going to get some nice movements, interim movements, intraday, and that's what it delivered. So there's always pips on there when you're going inside the one-day time frames. So that's about it really in terms of what happened during the week, the winners and losers. Let's have a quick look at my 80-20 system, and I'll just quickly go through why we really didn't see any trades this week. Okay, I'm just going to move the 1 hour over there and just reveal to you this is the FX correlator. It's the bold tag. This is available on the thread to download somewhere. Just need to hunt for it a little bit. This is on an 80 setting, an 80 moving average. This is on a 20. I combine the two to come up with a free strategy offer on my Trade to Win site, which gives you an idea when the market's in a certain correlation mode, when certain currencies are moving together, and it just gives me an edge in terms of looking when to trade and when to make certain trades on certain trading pairs. I'm also going to keep up on this side, the 1 hour as well, just to show you what happened for the Dow in the week, and it's pretty obvious. The Dow never got above its 80. That is an 80 slow moving average, and very rarely did it pop its head above the 20. That's a 20 moving average. That's what I use, the 80 and the 20. So all in all, it really was a falling week. Now, in normal terms, that would indicate to me that I'm looking for the yen and dollar to be very aggressively moving north, and then looking for sells off of that, selling into traditional currency, especially during the London sessions and early US sessions, selling the pound and the euro when they offered up opportunities. But boy, oh boy, it was a really, really bad week, and I'm going to talk you through that now. So here we are, moving through the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in that order. And let's just have a look through here. So as you saw, early part of the week, there was a little bit of a rally. So actually, even though it didn't get above the 80 here, because it was moving up through the day, I was probably looking for sells on the yen and the dollar, and they were there. Okay, so there was a little bit of activity there, but I'd say at the same time, whilst I'm looking for that, I've got to find some attractive currencies to buy, and I'm not a big fan of buying the Swissy against the yen and the dollar, because to me they're part of the same family. They represent that kind of risk carry trade kind of family, so that wasn't attractive to me. Can't see into the detail there. I think there was a little bit of Aussie there and a few others, but there really wasn't that much. So already at the start of the week, for me, it was signaling this was going to be a tough old week. And the dollar and the yen, based on what was going on, I always figured the dollar certainly was going to have a tough time this week. Okay, from then on, as we've seen, Tuesday through to Friday, it was an absolute disaster. And all I was waiting for here, once those signals were on, I needed to get my yen and my dollar above the line. That's where I need to be. I need to see those guys moving upwards, so I've got a good correlation. And without going into too much detail, if you look through, certainly on the 80, it started to move up in the second half of the week. There you are. It got up there in the second half. And, down here as well. So, I mean, in terms of what I was looking for in terms of trading, it was very much the second half of the week where I finally got some action on this, as it were. And when we did get north, which was finally, we got north very early on Wednesday on the 20, but it wasn't until really the Thursday, you can see here, where the dollar, the key one I was looking for, got dragged north. And then we got into some action, and then there was some sales here. So then I was looking for sales down here. The euro had actually been hammered already, so actually the euro was recovering. That probably wasn't a good trade, even though these guys were north. The euro was already recovering, so that wasn't a good trade. And there wasn't much around. If you look up here, because I need, again, if I'm looking to sell a currency against these guys, I need them to be in these areas below the zero on both lines. The Canadian dollar was there, and only the euro was there. There's nothing else here. So that was really, really tough on Thursday. And I certainly wouldn't trade the Canadian dollar really against the US dollar. I wouldn't do that. So not much around, was there? On Friday it was better, as you can see, early hours Asian into London session because everything was tying up, you see here. So we had these guys south, we had these guys north, the yen and the dollar. Then I got into some action. I had some nice sells on, eventually some nice sells on the euro as it came back down here. I certainly had a nice sell on the pound. So there was a few things there bouncing around. So Friday was a better day for me, but very early hours, and I certainly wasn't up trading at that time. So there you have it. Really more back end of the week. It reminds me, I do need to change my thread on Trade to Win, because when I was looking at these earlier, perhaps I had a wrong chart up, but I didn't think there were any signals. So I apologise again. There were some signals. They were back end of the week, but it was a fairly thin week for trading. But that's the idea of this system. This is the 80-20 system. It's fairly steady and robust. It's a kind of middle of the road free indicator I use. It's pretty mainstream. I've got much more aggressive indicators that will get me in and out much faster than this, and based on other patterns and correlations. But this is one I offer for free. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of what my week was like. Have a great week. I hope you do well next week. Follow me at Trade to Win. I'll post when I can. And all the best. Bye-bye. This is MVP signing off.